So here we are with Toby White, one of the founders of Gem and Jam Festival, as well as Cascade Equinox out in Oregon. Toby's also with Symbiosis Gathering. Yeah, so Toby, so glad to have you on here today. How's it going, man, out in the West Coast?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
So we got Toby White on the podcast, throwing festivals, Arizona, Oregon,
California.
California. How the hell did you end up doing all this crazy festival stuff?
It happened pretty organically, I guess. So I was going to school in Flagstaff, Arizona for hotel and restaurant management, more hospitality sort of oriented stuff. And I never really wanted to be in that. I wanted more of the, how do you entertain people sort of kind of career. And I wasn't sure at that point in my life, I wasn't really sure where I was going. But, during that time, I kind of started, playing around with some just parties and things like that, booking some spots, having some DJs or whatever. That's kind of transitioned into, I guess, the point where, a friend of mine was down in Tucson every year for the Gem Show, and there wasn't really much going on, for entertainment and having a good time. So he kind of threw out the idea, hey, come on down, I'll fund you to do this. And that's sort of how the first one started. So, that was my first sort of bigger thing that I had done. And, it definitely had its challenges its first year, but, found that I really enjoyed it and definitely wanted to keep it going. So that was back in '05. So yeah, it's been about 18 years now.
Man, 18 years. Did you imagine you would do this at all when you were younger?
No, not really. I don't think that this was ever necessarily the plan. And I don't think that necessarily I thought when I was starting this or even years into it, that this would be kind of where I'd be at this point in my life. I think it was sort of I thought it was more of a stepping stone to the next thing. But, as life sometimes goes, it just, things sort of happen in certain ways. And here we are now. So, we got Gem and Jam, in its 15th, just had its, or about to be its 15th year. I guess we had just had it our 15th year, and took a few years off over the years. And, we got really excited about the idea of putting on another festival, and Bend, Oregon region, Central Oregon seemed like the right spot for it. It was kind of lacking anything in that kind of wheelhouse. So we decided to kind of jump in and get started on it. And so now we're, going to be in our first year here in September.
Yeah, so first year, Goose and Pretty Lights headlining. Like, what are some of the unique challenges with a festival throwing it in its first year?
Oh, well, obviously figuring out how a venue works. The good thing is, with Gem and Jam, we do it at a fairgrounds. And so, a lot of the infrastructure is there. It's more turnkey than a lot of other spaces that you might go that might be off grid and having to bring everything in. The fairgrounds is really nice because you have all that infrastructure. And so when we're kind of looking to do another event, the fairgrounds was sort of like what we were really looking at. That was, we already knew that worked the best for us. And so, I think the challenges have come really with just making sure, you don't know where your competition is. You don't know if you're stepping on toes in new regions. You want to be delicate with that. I think, there's been people that have been doing this for years, and you really want to be respectful of, what people have created. And so I think, I would say it comes with its challenges. I think, things worked out pretty well. I think people were pretty receptive to what we were trying to do here. And so, I think we, kind of gave people what they were looking for, and we're definitely really bringing the local community into it. So I think that kind of, made everyone feel a lot better about what we were doing. Obviously I live here in Bend. My partners do not, most of them do not. I have one partner, Stacy from Four Peaks, who has been doing events for years. And so, that was sort of a goal, was to kind of bring sort of someone who's been doing it for a while here with whatever we were doing, elsewhere. And that's worked out really well so far. So, back to the biggest challenges, it's sort of, figuring out how the new space is going to work for us, and where things are going to go, and who our vendors are going to be. And, it's literally starting from scratch. So fortunately, we have a lot of relationships and things, and a great staff that we can kind of put into place again from, Gem and Jam, and bringing, some locals on board here that have worked with Four Peaks. And so I think it's, this has been not as challenging as maybe starting another festival for its first year. I think it's been an easy transition for us.
So, and when you think of starting something new, starting a new festival, what kind of aspects of it are most important to you that, you and your team get right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we want to create something that's fresh and new and dynamic. I think, I think with Gem and Jam, we've sort of created something that's, more niche with what it is at this point. It's sort of kind of fallen into this place, which is great. But I think, this was something that, I'd started back when I was, in my early 20s, and now, being 43, I want different things out of a music festival than I did, when I was in my 20s. So I think a lot of that, and my partners are all, we're all kind of similar in age. We all kind of wanted something that would be really attractive to all of us as well in our community. So
Break that down for me. Like what the key things?
I mean, we want the experience everyone to have an experience that they're wanting, right? So there's some people, that just, they want to be sitting at a stage, dancing all day. There's other people who want to get off their feet and they want to go enjoy a glass of wine. So for Cascade, we're creating a space called the Grove, which super excited about. It's more of a, like a high-end space where it's got wine tasting and beer flights and, more boutique shopping and lounges, and, there's going to be a photo booth and, music, comedians, things like that. So you can kind of go into this space that's not your typical scenario at a music festival. So I think, we're trying to create something that's more, more broad for everybody. So like, whether you're 5 years old or you're, 65, you're going to enjoy it just the same. And that's been pretty much the goal. It's kind of giving something that's everyone can enjoy and doesn't kind of fit into a mold.
What's your thinking behind how a lot of festivals cater to a niche, like a bluegrass festival, electronic festival, and when you're putting together your festival, like what's your thinking behind how you've kind of had, really just diverse artists?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that kind of comes with the uniqueness of having partners too, that are all we all kind of have different styles of music that we like, and so we can kind of bring those together. And I guess the thought process is really, you want enough crossover with these genres that, it could be electronic or bluegrass, but it doesn't matter because a lot of people like all that same music, and so we wanted to kind of diversify it as much as we could, so that, we could, as many people would be interested in as possible. But at the same time, having enough music that you come to see and enjoy, like not just seeing one act that you might know. It's more, you might see 15 acts or 10 acts that and resonate with, but they're totally different styles of music. And so I think that was one of the challenge, but also kind of like something that my team's really good at is finding those correct acts that can kind of do just that.
Yeah, so Pretty Lights coming out of nowhere and announcing Cascade Equinox, like what's the story behind landing that?
Well, fortunately for us, my manager or my partner is his manager. And so that was sort of something that, gave us an opportunity to, look at, obviously he didn't have to choose this, and it was sort of presented in a way because it sounded like something that that Pretty Lights was excited about, not just because his manager was putting it on, but it was something that sounded cool and unique. And so obviously that helped with the process of getting that going. I think the acts that we had along with booking him were a big part. I think it was like, I need to know who else is part of this. And I think when Derek, discovered who else was on the lineup, I think it excited him and he wanted to be part of it.
Hmm.
Hi, I'm Katie, producer of Weird Music Podcast. I want to give a big shout out to Voodoo Ranger. Live dangerously.
Well, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Just want to let y'all know we've got these hand-dyed, ice-dyed Weird Music Podcast hoodies and also tees. If you'd like one, let us know. We'd love to get you one. And a big thank you to the geniuses over at Thrax CBD for sponsoring us with their amazing products. Also want to give a big thank you to J&J Distribution, Ohio's premier Delta 8 and CBD wholesale supplier. Retailers, check out their brands Cloud 8, Compassionate Buds, and Zaza. Got links in the description. And yeah, much love, y'all. Now back to the episode.
I want to pivot a little bit, and you mentioned your other partners. Throwing festivals involves coordinating so many different teams. What have you come to learn about team dynamics and just coordinating with people that is most important for things to go well?
Totally. I mean, I think that is the most important thing right there with what you said, is putting together the best team, and I think, after years of experience, I've worked with people that, are difficult to work with and that you don't mold with, and you kind of, you have issues and you don't always see eye to eye. And I think the fortunate thing for me, I think with Gem and Jam, there was years of working with, same partners and really gaining trust and understanding all, kind of knowing what our strong suits were and how to communicate with each other. And, when we decided to do Cascade, this was going to be we were looking at it being a bigger event, a much broader, growth, for the long term. And so we really wanted to put the right team together. And so I actually had brought in a couple of my partners from Symbiosis Gathering as well, along with, like I said, Stacy from Four Peaks. And I saw all these partners kind of being able to work together. And, we had met up here, I guess it was last fall, and kind of had everyone come up and do a little site visit and see the space and get to know each other. And everyone brought their significant others and families. And we just spent some time together, kind of getting to know each other and, figuring out who we all are. And so I think that was a really crucial piece to this whole thing, was really just creating this team that all have really amazing strong suits, but can also work really well with others and communicate well and really, see the vision through. And, I think we're all sort of, there's 7 of us that are putting this on right now. And I've kind of been the one who started the idea and kind of pushing a lot of things forward, but I would be nothing without my team and my partners. They're amazing at what they do. And everybody, like I said, everybody has their strong suits that we sort of just let go, let them do their thing. And that really, that's what it's all about. So, and as far as the additional team coming in, we've also, had a lot of these people working with us for years. And so we trust them. We see how hardworking they are, and they can mesh with what we're doing. So, it's, you kind of trim the fat as you go. And we definitely have trimmed most of the fat, and we have just, all-stars on our team at this point.
So in crunch time, like, festivals going on, XYZ happens. Talk to me about what you've learned you need to stay away from doing. Like, how do you handle those types of situations as well as you can?
Well, I guess that depends on what the scenario is. We've had a lot of different sort of things happen over the years, whether it be security related or medical situation or technical difficulties or whatever it is. I think all of those things kind of fall into a place where you kind of have to you kind of lean towards the person that's your expert there, right? So if there's something that's happening that's there's a medical situation that's serious, you hang back a little bit and you let your medical team take care of it, and you do all the proper protocols. You follow the guidelines of what you've learned and what they want you to, kind of implement. Same thing for security. If there's a security issue, we were hands off, and we allow our, have our security team kind of focus on that and do it the way they're supposed to do it, so that it's done correctly and there's no legal situation that might come up. It's, we trust in our people to kind of handle the situation. If it's something where, in Gem and Jam, we've had major wind issues and, structures being questionable with, the shade or whatever, you basically just, you have to act fast, and you have to act with your, again, the proper people, and you make sure that you keep everyone safe. And, and that's the main goal. And, you get on top of it as quickly as possible.
Well, Toby, man, great to get to know you here. Cascade Equinox, it seems freaking amazing. So many festivals you see kind of like dropping off, and very interesting to see some popping up. I don't have a very good understanding of the Pacific Northwest and what the scene's like up there, but sounds like you're bringing a pretty awesome thing up there.
Yeah, it's we're pretty excited about it. I think I think people are going to be really into what we're doing. I think it's, like I said, for this area, there's not really much going on like this. And so I think, it kind of allows us to be creative in a different way and, try to make something really cool.
So Symbiosis Gathering, talk to me about this Eclipse festival that you threw.
Yeah, so we actually, in 2017, there was a total solar eclipse that was running through the United States, and there was the line of totality basically ran through Oregon, in Central Oregon, and it's kind of around Prineville, which is about 45 minutes or so from Redmond, which is where we were putting on the event. And there was a private property up there, and kind of at the time, our partners were looking at spaces of totality, basically where was that perfect place to see it, and kind of going, zooming in on maps just to see where, what might work. And, landed on this property. And yeah, it was pretty amazing. 7-day festival, about 250 musical acts. There was 11 or 12 musical stages, workshops, about 65,000 people showed up for it. It was pretty incredible, hot air balloon rides, and it was definitely one of the most next level things. It was a very international event. We had different groups from around the globe, basically helping out and doing different sort of stages or installations, and just kind of joining together on an international level to do this thing.
And what was the moment of totality like?
That was actually my first total solar eclipse, and it was unbelievable. It's as it starts to happen, you have about 65,000 people that are literally, there was silence going on during this period of time, and the temperatures were about 90 degrees or so, and then it dropped to like 50 within minutes, and went dark, and everybody's just kind of like doing exactly the same thing, looking at this thing. And it's quite the experience. Yeah, it's like, I think everybody needs to see an eclipse. And I think it was a very special an event. And all in all, it's just like, there's 65,000 people showing up at this thing. It was, I would say it was close to as good as it could get as far as things going on. And that doesn't happen very often, where you can say that about something so large.
That's crazy to put something like that on.
Yeah.
So epic.
Yeah,
man. Well, if you listen this far, check out the description. We got a link, Cascade Equinox tickets. It's gonna be something special out there in Oregon. Toby, man, thank you for taking the time here, joining me on this show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
So I got just a couple more questions, starting to wrap up. I'd love to hear how you foresee just the music festivals landscape, jam EDM festivals over the next 5 to 10 years, and just kind of what you foresee that looking like.
I think it's as we've seen this year, there's been a lot of struggle in the festival markets. And I think, there's been a lot of companies that have been around for a while that are, having a really difficult time, and others that are new that are, experiencing the same sort of scenario. I think it's it's hard to say. It's hard to say what the future holds, but I think having a diverse lineup and diversifying your genres is really an important part of this, because if you stay so in one lane, I think you kind of you narrow your audience, and then there's also a lot of competition that you're always going to struggle with. So I think if you kind of make yourself really special and unique, and step above what everyone else is doing, try to be special in some different kind of way, then I think you'll attract those people, and people will talk, and people will come. And if you aren't 100% on, if you aren't dialed with your budget, or you don't know, everything's not completely clear, and you don't have a strong hold on your business, then you're probably going to struggle. And so I think I think starting out right now, it's going to be a really difficult time to do that. But I think we will see a drop in the amount of festivals, I think, in the next few years. And I think we'll see a lot of the other ones kind of getting a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, or stay about the same. I mean, we never know what's going to happen to the economy. So we just kind of need to know what you're doing is going to work, and believe in it. And hopefully it just kind of goes your way.
So my next question, with you, what have you come to learn is most important with being a great leader?
I think being a great leader means listening, really allowing everybody to be heard, and allowing everybody to, give their input, and transparency, and just being respectful, and understanding that people have different kinds of personalities, and how to work through all those personalities, and just be kind, I think is the biggest thing. And know that you don't want to have an ego with it. You want to be someone that is approachable. And I think that is, for me, one of the biggest things. It's just being real. I mean, I try to just be who I am in general, and I think that a lot of the leadership sort of comes with that. It's just sort of putting all the pieces together, and making sure that everyone's feeling okay, and able to kind of proceed without any issues. And if there are, then they can talk about them, and we can try to resolve them.
Listening. Same as being a musician.
That's right.
My last question, what is the personality trait that you would say you most admire in people you're surrounded by, and in yourself? Like what personality traits in general?
I would say modesty and respectfulness, hardworking, transparent. I think all those are important things. I think it's, like I said, I think for me, the biggest thing is ego. I hate when ego gets in the way, and usually doesn't with our team. I think it's something that really resonates to me, is everybody kind of, it's not just in business, but in real life too. Everyone's sort of, that's how people function and operate. And I think that's where I thrive, is being similar people like me. And so, I think those are the biggest things.
Well, hell yeah, Toby. Put on some freaking awesome events, man. Thank you. On behalf of all of us concert lovers, thank you for doing what you do. And if you're listening, Cascade Equinox, link in the description. Take care, y'all.
All right, take care.
Well, there you have it. Thanks for tuning in. And a big thank you to Ticket Relief for sponsoring Weird Music Podcast. If you're an event organizer out there, Ticket Relief can help you keep your fees low while making sure all aspects of ticketing go smoothly. As well, Ticket Relief plants trees on behalf of every ticket sold with the events they work with. So, yeah, we've got a link in the description for you to check them out. And thank you to the rest of our sponsors. Much love, y'all.